Hi, my friends, my brothers and sisters, and mostly my sisters. That's who have got signed up so far for classes. I wanted to do a quick video to introduce myself and let you know a little bit of what's going to be going on with our Wicca 101 classes coming up. I'm very excited. Hopefully they will definitely be starting on April the 6th. If we don't start them exactly on that day, it's no big deal. It will be sometime around that, because I'm suspecting that maybe there might be a few more people that will want to sign up somewhere after the 27th, because I know I stated that the 27th was the deadline for the signing up. However, if someone still wants to sign up after the 27th, that's fine. Right now I have about, I believe, 5 to 7 students. Not everyone is paid, but they're going to. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about too, was payment. Okay. I've got everything written down here. So first, let's talk about payment, okay? Your first month is $60, and that is for your materials, because the first month you'll get the most, well, most likely the most materials. You're going to get your book, which is called Witch School First Degree, and that has 12 lessons in it, and I will tell you the lessons that is in the book that you'll be learning, and you'll be actually doing a lesson after each chapter. And then also you'll be getting a tarot deck, a beginning for tarot. It's a very good deck for beginners, for tarot beginners, learning tarot. Also, I picked out a amulet for each of you to have. It's a protection, a pentacle of protection for each of you to wear. You can wear it the whole time, or you can wear it just during rituals or while you're studying. It's a basic pentacle for protection. It's going to be blessed by me, and you know, it's nice, you know, little protection amulet. And then another couple of books that I'm still trying to decide what to get, what kind of books. They will be teaching materials that we will use for lessons. And I will also be giving you different lessons on top of the Witch School First Degree. So there's a lot to learn. A lot to learn. A year, one day, sometimes really isn't, I don't think, enough time. But what's really nice about this is that each of you can read your own pace. I'm hoping that everyone can do a lesson. We're going to try a lesson a week. Then we will meet in group on the Facebook Messenger, where we can all, you know, discuss the lesson. And there will be like little assignments at the end of each lesson. There's like little spells. There's little, I know with the first lesson, there's like the end of it, there's like a ritual bath. It's a cleansing. We learn how to, it's a big thing when you're first learning Wicca, is to cleanse and rid negativity. I have some stories to tell you with me when I was beginning Wicca. I didn't have a teacher when I was beginning learning Wicca. When I started practicing the spells and whatnot, you have to be really careful how you word things and how you do things with magic and the craft, because I didn't have a teacher or a mentor to help guide me at that time, to teach me exactly how to word it, how to protect myself, how to create sacred space, and so on and so forth. So one night I had just lit candles. I didn't create sacred space. I just started saying all this stuff, and I asked the universe, and I called upon spirits. I didn't even say which ones. I just said I call upon you spirits to take away all the negativity from me, drain all the negativity from my body, so it will be gone by tomorrow. I woke up the next day in a puddle of sweat in my bed. I was just drenched in sweat. I felt so sickly. I was just so uncomfortable. I was weak. I was like, ugh, I just felt terrible. So I made an appointment with my doctor. I got in that day, and here I was dehydrated. And she asked me, what have you done? Have you been sick? Have you been vomiting or anything like? I wasn't about to say, oh, I performed this spell last night, to rid negativity from my body. And, well, I wasn't careful what I said, so I guess I just sweated it out all night. That's just one example of some crazy things that's happened to me. I've got some crazy stories to tell you, but you have to be really, really careful. Really, really careful. I have some pretty scary stories to tell you about psychic vampires. I was really skeptical about that when I was younger. I'm ashamed of myself because I used to actually laugh and make fun of other witches who said that they were being attacked by a psychic vampire and was asking for help. I was like, this lady's nuts. She's crazy. What is she talking about? Well, about a year or so later, it happened to me, and it kept happening. But I'll tell you all about that later. I've got a lot to tell you. I've got to tell you about my astral projection experiences, my seance experiences, my talks with my spirit guide experiences, talking to trees experiences. I have so many experiences to talk to you about. I don't have too many one-on-one spirit experiences, but I did see the god and goddess. They came to me, and that is something that is so awesome. Not every witch sees this, but most do, and I don't want you to get discouraged if you don't. But when I was going through my training during a trance, first the goddess came to me, and then about a week or so later, the god came to me, and it's so amazing, because when you're going through this transformation of knowing for sure that this is the path you want to take, they will come to you, and it's pretty amazing. It's changed my life. I also wanted to talk to you about when I began. It's been with me forever. I mean, ever since I can remember, ever since I was a young child, I knew things was different. I can remember telling my parents, when I was big, I used to do this, I used to do that. When I was big. It was always when I was big. And I can remember, I don't remember so much now, but I know back then, when I was small, I remember being big. And I also remember not knowing that when we died, we came back. Because when we would go to a funeral for a family loved one, I would see them in the casket, and I would think, well, I was really young too. I'd say as young as 5, 6 years old. And I would be thinking, well, it's not sad because they're coming back. It was just this weird, I knew. And I don't know. I've not really ever been afraid of dying. There was a few times in my life where I kind of drifted away from the craft. Let me see, there's some other things. It helped me a lot to really study and to get into it. But I'll tell you something not so good that happened to me, and it's taken me a while to really come out in the open and really discuss my craft in the public and open up, because back in 2002, my father of two of my children, my two youngest boys, had called Children's Services on me, and they had come to my home because I practice witchcraft. And they just bombarded my home, came in. I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what it was about. I was young, confused, didn't know what was going on. I never dreamed that anyone would ever come at me for my children. I'm a good mother. I took care of my children. But they came in and they took pictures. I had all kinds of books sitting on my end tables in the bedroom. And they were just taking pictures like crazy of books, Wiccan and pagan books, my materials, and my altar, and just things of that nature. And they finally did take my kids. They had me in court. The prosecutor was bashing me as being a devil worshiper, and I tried to explain to him that we don't believe in the devil. That it's a Christian deity, so I can get into that a little bit more later on too. However, that was rough for me. So after that happened, I basically strayed for a little while. I did teach for a little while. I taught. And I did initiate my daughter and a few of her friends and a few other girls. And I did some things online, and I did MySpace, and I did an AOL chat room, and I taught and mentored. But since, I would say for the last 5 years, I have felt really good about being open with my religion. So it's up to you how you want to be with your religion, if you want to be open or if you want to be secretive. Now, it's become a lot more known, okay, than it was back when I was first learning, because libraries didn't even carry much information. So I'm not old or anything by all means, but back in the 80s, late 80s and 90s, before the internet was available, there wasn't very much literature on it, and I really didn't know what I was. I didn't know really I was a witch. I just knew I was different. I knew I felt things. I knew that I heard things. I saw twinkling lights and flashes, and then I seen like little wings, and if I would tell people about it, they would think I was crazy, And my Irish grandmother, God love her, full-blood Irish grandmother. I guess that's where I get my hair. But she was also a witch. But she didn't really tell me she was a witch. But just by watching her and talking to her, I could tell she was a witch. But she believed in the fairies and all the gnomes and trolls and such. But it's up to you whether or not you want to keep it a secret or let it out. I say let it out. That's just me, because I get so frustrated with people's ignorance. I'm sorry, and I'm not usually like this. I don't put down other people's religions. That's another thing I want to teach you. I do not believe in that. But what really aggravates me is that people do not educate themselves about our religion. They've been listening, they've been around movies in Hollywood too much, and they classify us as devil worshippers. Anyway, I won't go on anymore with that. We'll do that more later. But I wanted to go on with things that we'll be learning, and it'll be things as such. What is Wicca? History of the craft. We'll be learning the history of the craft, like what we were talking about. Nature of the divine, magical tools, divination, symbolism, spell crafting and casting circles, chants and music, pagan community, ritual design, and there'll be more, but this is going to be like as we first start. And the 12 lessons in our book, the first book we get, number 1 is magic. There will be a lesson at the end of each chapter. Number 2, cosmology. 3, personal power. 4, the altar. 5, the arts. 6, the circle of art. 7, incarnation. 8, garb. Garb is decoration, clothing, ritual clothing, decoration, things that you decorate your home with to help make you feel more spiritual, more magical. Number 9, symbols, omens, and divination. 10, basic energy work. 11, herbs, oils, and incense. 12, stones and crystals. There will be a lot that I'm going to add to these lessons because there's so much, because I practice a lot of meditation, mindfulness, and Zen. I'm doing this a lot. I'm a very firm believer in cleansing every day, and it's not just with water, it is with your smudging, your herbs. My mentor told me, she was mostly Native American, Cherokee, that smudging with the incense, with the sage sticks every day, and doing a blessing chant or a prayer is a good way to really start your day. You have to, have positive thoughts every day in order to have a very good, clear, focused, and successful day. I know there's days that I forget, or I just don't want to. I'm kind of lazy. But me teaching, again, is going to help me to get really back into the routine of things. And I know when I was really strict with my rituals, I felt better. I struggle with fibromyalgia. I know there's a few of you out there that I've talked to that do have the same thing. And some other illnesses. I've been diagnosed with lupus, but they go back and forth with it. But I have some problems with my disc. I've been on disability, but I do work from home. I do jewelry. I work at my own pace. I can take breaks when I want. However, the whole thing with the craft, it does help. It helps tremendously. It helps the spirit, helps the mind. When you meditate, you clear your mind. You quiet the mind. You quiet the mind. You clear the mind. You can focus. Therefore, all of your energy can flow through you evenly. It comes out. If your mind is cluttered and you've got 1,000 things going on at once, your energy is just going to be all tight and stuck. It's like a clogged pipe, like clogged up sink with hair. Your energy just gets all stuck. So when you meditate and you clear your mind, you unplug those pipes, so your energy just flows through you, and it's good energy. So you would be able to breathe good energy and let out bad energy. Okay, we'll talk more about that too. I'm going to have several videos of lectures and teaching proper breathing and meditation, mindfulness. Later on, I'll be teaching how to cast circles, how to call the elements, how to call deity, how to call certain gods and goddesses. By all means, we are not ever going to work any dark magic. So please don't ask me ever if we're going to do anything that's going to require dark magic, which I'm talking, it has to do with Baphomet, dark spirits, anything like that. No, I do not condone any of that type of no. So I'm sure none of you will. I know most of you anyway. So just wanted to let you know, touch base. And then the payments, get back to that. See how I'll get on one subject, then I get on to another subject, and then another subject, and another subject. It's like you got to keep me in check, because I'll tell you what, I do this all the time. And I'm a talker. I'm a Taurus. I'm double Earth. I'm a Taurus, and my moon sign is Virgo. So what does that tell you? Yeah. And I'm kind of... and I like to eat. I can't help it. It's just the way the stars lined up and such. Anyway, and then I also forget things real quickly too. That's probably not the universe's fault. It's probably all the medication I'm on. I don't know. Anyway, the payments. Okay. Yes. First payment is $60, and that includes your materials. And then there is a extra payment of $10 if you want a nice new book of shadows. Now, I know we have someone who joined us today, who I love very much. I love all of you. Peggy, and I don't know if you wanted a book of shadows, but I recommend a nice book of shadows. Now, you can use, I made this today. This is just my notebook. I made it on my printer, okay? This is for the lessons and stuff that I'm creating for the class. But I do have several different book of shadows. But I recommend that you do have notebooks to jot things down, like when I'm giving lectures and stuff, or when we're having group meetings on Messenger. But the Book of Shadows is for you to write down your experiences with your rituals that you do at the end of each lesson. You will, it's like a diary. Every witch has one. And I just recommend that you keep one. A lot of times we'll write our dreams in it, or we'll have a separate one for dreams. I like to keep a separate one for dreams. But when you're a beginner, you could just have one Book of Shadows and just each day write things in there that you've done, or that you've dreamt, or like I meditated today and such came to me today, you know, or I did my first ritual bath today, and I felt very spiritual. You know, just little things you write down in it. It's not for taking notes. You know, you can have any old scrappy notebook. The reason why I recommend the really nice Book of Shadows is because later on, after the class is over, you'll have a very nice, attractive Book of Shadows that you can later on look back at and say, wow, this was my first Book of Shadows when I was learning by Melissa Garrett, Wicca 101. And you can pass it down to your kids, your grandchildren. I'm wanting to pass mine down. I know my daughter, I'm going to give several to my daughter, and I'm hoping to my grandchildren as well. It's really interesting to be able to pass those down to your kids. Even if they don't practice Wicca, it's information. It's about you, and it's about how you lived, and it's interesting. It really is. It's interesting for you to read over it years later. You know, it really is. It shows you how much you've grown. Plus, you save things in there, like recipes and different spells. It's worked. So, you know, I have one just for crystals, which crystals work and for what for me. Herbs, oils. But after the first month, the payments will be $25 a month. And they will be billed to you by invoice from PayPal. And I'm going to let you pick the day. Each student can pick the day that is best for them. Because I know how that is. Because a lot of us are on disability. A lot of us only get paid once a month, twice a month. So whatever day is good for you, let me know. And then I'll mark it down in my notebook. You know, what day for who. And I will send it every that same day every month. Trying to think if there's anything else. I wrote some notes here. But I just wanted to touch base with you and just talk to you a little bit, let you know what's going on and how it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be very rewarding for me. I think that, I really think that these classes, even though we're not going to actually be meeting together live and being able to talk as a group live, I think that just by me being able to do the videos and to talk to you, I feel like I'm with you, and I've actually talked to several of you on Facebook, messaging you, and several of you have been my customers, have bought things from me, and I admire you all. I've grown very close to a lot of you, and I love people and I love helping others, and this is my path. This is what God has chosen for me, and this is what I love to do. This is my path. So yeah, I get a little choked up sometimes. I'm a big baby, but anyway, I guess I will let you go for now. I'm looking at my nose. I don't see anything else. Not that I can think of right now. If you have any questions about the classes, just message me, or you can post it up on the page. That's fine. I am trying to get together some files for our page. I'm wanting each of you to write me a little bit of about yourselves. I might have you answer some questions. Nothing big, personal. I just want to get to know a little bit about you. I want to know your birth sign and your date of birth. I was going to look up your moon sign if you don't know it. If you know it, go ahead and let me know. What was the other things I was going to ask you? Oh, what you're drawn to. I asked you about your elements, but I didn't get answers from everybody yet. Let's see. Questions like, what has brought you to wanting to learn Wicca? How long have you been interested in it? What is your long-lasting goal? Do you want to, advance into a shaman or practice Reiki or, expand, or just be a solitary practitioner like I am? I do a lot of different things. I don't really do much voodoo, only because I'm not really experienced at it. I never really learned it. I've just not really been into it. There's nothing wrong with voodoo. I think it's pretty interesting. There's some things that I've not really done any of, but I do know some things about it. But I've done seances, I've done Ouija boards, I have done some things, shadow magic. I've done a lot of chakra healing and healing with crystals and herbs and oils. Trying to think, I'm getting tired. I get so tired, guys. My fibro's kicking in. Anyway, I'm going to let you all go so I can rest and do whatever else I need to do. Okay. I just want to talk to you as a friend and as a teacher/mentor. I'm really looking forward to these classes, and I love you so much. You are my sisters. And hopefully, here's one of my goals, is when our classes are done, maybe by then we can all get together and have us a little group / little coven, little ceremony, and celebrate. I think would be really fun, because I get professionally made certificates for students when they finish their classes. So I hope you all stay with me, because I have a company that will make professional certificates for you guys when you complete. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I got me one, and so I hope you all stay with it. It's going to be fun. So I will let you go, or I will talk your ear off, and you'll be on the computer for 4 more hours or until tomorrow morning. So, I will leave another video up in a few days or so with a real first time, beginning lecture. I'm going to start talking about the history of witchcraft. The first few lessons will be kind of boring. It is the history of witchcraft, and you want to just jump right into spell working and such. But it's pretty interesting. Some of it's kind of, I don't know. I'll try to make it not so boring. I'll try to get a little bouncy and stuff in there to make it, so you don't fall asleep. But I will get into that later, and I wish you all a very, very blessed night, and love and light to all you, my sisters. You have a wonderful night. Love you. Blessed be.